right. Well, I've talked about Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Bill Murray, just tons of times, and it seems like they just keep popping up. Um, but anyway, um, like even like Michael Jordan even played basketball with Tom Brady. But anyway, it led me back to Baltimore. I don't know how or why. I'll show you, but it's just weird. So, just gonna point out a few articles, I guess, from a while back. There was this one, and it talked about the Kentucky Derby horse that won, American Pharoah, and they basically compared the horse to Michael Jordan because he could still fly in the air, or he's still really good, like he was when he was a rookie. So, just another dumb Michael Jordan article. Then there was also this article about Michael Jordan breaking up a fight after the Mayweather fight or whatever, and basically it's his bodyguard pushed some other guy, and then Michael Jordan calmed him down or whatever. Not even a big story, but it was somewhat of a. I mean, they made it a headline article, so it's kind of weird, Another Michael Jordan story. Why Michael Jordan? Also in the article they made fun of the way he dressed because a bunch of people were asking like how come he was dressed like Fidel Castro, and of course just wanted to point out Fidel Castro is 88 years old until August 13th. Also, the day of this fight and the Kentucky Derby, like all day there was articles about Tom Brady and his crew or whatever going to at first it was going to the Kentucky Derby, and then later on in the day, it was like, oh, Tom and his crew made it to the Mayweather fight all in one day. So they were bringing up Tom Brady again for whatever the reason. I don't get it. How many famous people went to all this, but yet the headlines talked about Tom Brady. Like, it just doesn't add up. Why Tom Brady and why no one else really? So I guess just pointing that out. Then there's an article about Bill Murray's son moving up in the college coaching ranks and blah, blah, blah. But what's interesting is that, okay, for one, why is this an article? For two, his son got hired as an assistant coach at Xavier University. And that just rung a bell because of the Lauryn Hill Cancer Girl. Because that's where she actually that's where they played the game her first game or whatever, the big game that she played with cancer or whatever. And I did like a 2 or 3 part video thing on this whole story and whatnot. I can't even remember it all. All I remember is that the game was actually played at the Cintas Center, which is at Xavier University. And I guess what I found interesting is the total academic staff, 666. I mean, most people wouldn't even like put that in there, I guess. I wouldn't think so. I mean, I've seen schools that have, like, if that's the locker number, they skip over it and whatnot. Not saying it, I mean, it happens everywhere, but interesting that their colors are blue and silver gray and white. So they got the gray color even in their uniform or whatever. So then you had the report came out or whatever, and they said Tom Brady most likely knew whatever. He knew that the footballs were deflated. He was a part of it. And then today they suspended him, I think, for 4 games. But what's really interesting is that same day or whatever, he had an interview, and then he said he didn't want to talk about it when they asked him the questions about it and whatnot, because he was here to interview for something else or whatever. But look who interviewed him. Jim Gray. I mean, doesn't that just stick out to you? The Gray? I mean, there's been a ton of Gray, and then Tom Brady gets interviewed by Jim Gray. I mean, even the interview, it was at Salem State University. And, I mean, I haven't even really looked that much into it, but first thing I looked at, it was established in 1854. That's 54 is love. Now, it was also, it says, was founded 1854 as Salem Normal School under the guidance of Horace Mann. Let's check out Horace Mann. Horace Mann was born on 5/4, and he died on August 2nd. August 2nd is the 214th day of the year, 214, Valentine's Day. So then from the Tom Brady thing, I just talked about the Clippers yesterday. and the River of Jordan and whatnot. But it made me think of the Clippers again because last year Donald Sterling was their owner. After 33 seasons, he made racist remarks or whatever, and they eventually fired him. And then the other guy took over. I can't think of his name right now. Steve Ballmer. But anyway, so check this out. It's the Clippers' 45th season this year, which is evil or the backward mirror of love. But even better is the guy who got kicked out or whatever was Donald Sterling. And whenever I think of Sterling, don't you just think of Sterling? I think of sterling silver. And sterling silver, basically, whatever, it's like silverware and whatnot. It's a metal, but it's gray. I mean, it's a shade of gray. I mean, come on, that's craziness. I guess when I looked it up, because I looked up the difference between silver and gray, and basically silver is just a gray color that's more metallic looking. So it is gray, and gray is a color, and silver is actually the metal. So, and then I remembered a while back, I talked about the Boston Bomber guy named Tamerlan. I mean, way back when, and it's Timur or Tamerlan, and then there was the Edgar Allan Poe poem and whatnot. But Timur actually means iron. So you come here, it says Timur. It's actually a guy too who happened to die on February 18th, the 49th day of the year. But it says historically known as Tamerlan. And then you got the Boston Bomber guy, Tamerlan. Well, if I can pull it up here. And he died on the same day Freddy Gray died. So just kind of funny. The Baltimore bombing guy dies the same day as Freddy Gray. Timur is the same as Tamerlan. It's this guy who died on 49th day of the year. But if you scroll on here, it actually tells you that Timur actually means iron. Here we go. Timur literally means iron. So, I mean, what also says he was born in the Green City, which is 49. Well, let's check out iron. And of course, iron is a lustrous metallic with a grayish tinge. So iron is gray as well. And I say iron, or I thought of Timur for one, Baltimore, right? And then also Edgar Allan Poe and The Raven and all kinds of stuff with Baltimore. So then I just went back to Baltimore and just looked up the city in general and a few things about it. Baltimore's in Maryland, and I'm not sure if other states do this. I don't know how many other states actually do this. I don't think it's very many. I think California is one of them. But Maryland actually adds up to 88. And I just threw this in here just to throw it in here. I didn't realize it, but the Wizards have been doing fairly decent. And I realized Washington and Pythagorean gematria actually adds up to 49. And then that is actually the team that Michael Jordan retired with, the Wizards. So who knows? Kind of interesting. Well, before I even get into that, Timur or Iron makes me think of Iron Man. And I talked about the Charlotte, the NASCAR, the nylon rope that fell, and in Iron Man, Iron Man, one of them, he has I think it's the green nylon ropes or the electric ropes that he hits the NASCAR with or whatever. So, and then this weekend is when the All-Star race, NASCAR in Charlotte happens, and then you just had like the royal baby whose name is Charlotte. And a long time ago, I predicted that I just think someone's going to die this year in NASCAR. It just really seems like they were building it up with all the wrecks in the beginning of the season and whatnot. So who knows? But Charlotte's been like the most dangerous place, according in NASCAR history. It looked like when I researched it. So I don't know. Maybe next week is the week. Who knows? But let's check out Robert Downey Jr. Just wanted to point out, I guess he's Iron Man, born on 4/4. And then he was 49, so he just turned 50. So anyway, let's go back to actual Baltimore. So Baltimore is actually named after Cecil Calvert, second Lord Baltimore. So check this guy out. Well, makes sense. Born on August 8th, which is 8/8/88. Even funnier, it was 1605, which, so on August 8th, that will be, what, 410 years? So it's actually 409. You take out the zero, you get, so it'll be 409. You take out the zero because they don't use zeros. Oh, 49. Go figure. Even says, so he received proprietorship after the death of his father, who died on April 15th, 1632, for whom it was intended. So, interesting. April 15th is when his father died. I mean, that's Abe Lincoln, Boston bombing. There's all kinds of stuff with April 15th. So interesting that he died that day, and this guy got the proprietorship. I mean, just weird. But anyway, I'm scrolling down here, just reading a little bit, and one thing sticks out to you here. On August 8th, 1633, Calvert was admitted to Gray's Inn as a barrister. Gray's Inn. On August 8th, so on his birthday, whatever that is, 28th birthday, he was admitted to Gray's Inn. And a barrister, I guess, is like a lawyer. And so basically, it's you have to go here in order to practice as a barrister in England and Wales. So interesting that he got accepted there or whatever. And just a ton of interesting people went here. Francis Bacon, I mean, the Rosicrucian dude, all kinds of stuff with this guy. I've watched so many documentaries, people talking about this guy, but not even going to go into all that. Just look at two simple things. Look when he was born and look when he died. 122. I've talked about that number I don't know how many times with San Francisco and whatnot. Golden State, San Francisco, Pope Francis, just tons of stuff that adds up to 122. And then he dies on 4/9/49. Just found that kind of interesting. So then, whatever, I went back to Baltimore, just kind of kept scrolling down here, reading about the education and whatnot, and it says that Baltimore is home to Frederick Douglass High School, so Freddy, I thought, and Frederick Douglass, famous black guy or whatever, but which is the second oldest African American high school in the United States, so kind of interesting. So yeah, basically, you get the picture. This school's named after Frederick Douglass, and just simple things about these people. He's born, it doesn't say when, February 1818, and he died on February 20th, 1895. So he was born died in 1895. So Baltimore actually adds up to 95. He died on February 20th, which is the 51st day of the year. The word Freddy adds up to 51. The word Gray adds up to 51. Also, he died at age 77. I mean, just weird, all these numbers divisible by 11. It always seems like all these famous people die on 66, 77, whatever, 44. But another thing, he was born, it says February in 1818. Well, funny, 1818, just the double or the mirror or whatever in itself. But that was actually 197 years ago also. So he would be 197 if he was still alive. And 197 is the 45th prime number. So then I got even farther down here on Baltimore, and it says Port of Baltimore. And it actually talks about the California Gold Rush. And really interesting is that they became the leading producer of construction of clipper ships. And that's who the Los Angeles Clippers are actually, that's what their name comes from, is the clipper ships. So Baltimore, I don't know if it still is, it says on here, it became the leader in the construction of clipper ships. And they're basically like fast ships that they use to get to the other side of the world faster or whatever, so they could go to the gold rush. So pretty interesting.